You're listening to Radio Multiverse.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's once again that time of year. Halloween is here. That means it is time once again for Radio Multiverse RIP with your ghost, Count Ramsey. And today I found 3 new victims. Starting with Chaz. Hello, Chaz. This is your very first visit to Radio Multiverse RIP, is it not?
Did we do a Inspector thing last year?
Oh crap! It's true. Oh, you made me drop out of character. I forget. Well, welcome once again, then.
Yep, I'm back.
Okay. But luckily I found at least one fresh new victim. Welcome, Stan.
Well, thank you. I hope a victim for pleasure and not for unfortunate. How do you say it? Accidents to happen.
I took that into a different route.
And then, last but not least, it is the triumphant return of Niko.
Buongiorno. I wouldn't say triumphant, but a return.
Yeah, because this is, well, you've joined us for other games, but those were off the air. This is like our first recorded episode in which you return.
I do. Well, it's still a return, less of a triumphant one, but, you know.
Oh, it's great to have you again.
It's, again, good to be back.
It's wonderful to have you for dinner.
I bring the garlic.
Wonderful. All right. In any case, let us not waste any more time because this is actually a one-shot called Vote Dracula. And I will tell you all about it in the little introduction I have prepared. Wait, before we start, I forgot like a really important detail. What the players have to actually name a small peaceful village in Transylvania.
Oh, it's not in a different country.
No, we're in Transylvania in Romania.
Okay. Let me have a name.
Mm-hmm. If you want, I can just name somebody. like I described before the start of our recording, it can be like translated from Romanian if you want. So if you want to get really unoriginal and call it Mountain Village, that's what it's gonna be called.
How about something simple like Barovnia?
Barovnia? Yeah, that does indeed sound very good, Niko. As a matter of fact, take a yum-yum, please.
Ooh.
Barovnia. Okay, I like that.
This is how veterans play.
Indeed.
You heard it, folks. All right. So, let's just get started. The year is 1908. Barovnia, a small peaceful village in hilly Transylvania. Not too long ago, Dragomir Vasilescu, the local mayor, died of old age, and new elections were organized to find a new mayor. And who else would show up but him, the living dead, Nosferatu, the Prince of Darkness, Count Dracula. Promising he would bring prosperity to the village, fix dilapidated buildings, and create new jobs, he began running for mayor. He took up residence in the old castle on the hilltop, where the mad scientist used to live. Naturally, no one ever goes there, so who knows what evil plans Count Dracula is truly plotting in that accursed castle. Everyone knows that a vampire like Dracula preys on the living and drinks their blood. Certainly, he is planning to abuse his power as mayor to gain absolute control over the village. A small militia of concerned citizens has been formed to investigate what sinister deeds Dracula has in store for the small village. Father Popescu, the local priest, has called together a meeting to discuss what is to be done. All right. And with that, our game begins. We're going to start in the middle of this peaceful rural village. It's a very small village, like I told you in the opening, in hilly Transylvania. And currently, a few people are gathered outside the old church building. And who would like to go first with describing their character for us and telling them a little bit about themselves? Nobody.
I can start off if you'd like.
No, you already did the name. Let Chaz start.
All right, fair enough.
You see an older balding man in a makeshift jacket with a loopy patchwork, and under the jacket you see like a priest garb that's seen better days, as it's dirty and pretty messy now. Okay, he's currently walking through the crowd with a small cup and jingling around like going, "Excuse me, gentlemen, would you spare some change for an old priest? Old priest on hard times." And he's going through the crowd, shaking it and trying to get people to give him change.
All right, cool. By the way, there's just a handful of people gathered around the church. It's in the evening.
Hey, he's still doing it.
Okay. In that case, he's doing that to the other player characters. So, who would like to go? Oh, by the way, you can take a yum yum. And we're gonna go on to the next victim.
That would be me.
All right, cool.
Right. I play Fabrizio Belmonta of Venice, a renowned in Italy for his prowess of slaying many dwellers of the night, including a famous evil Count Malocchio.
Mm-hmm.
However, he does not live in this village. Instead, by the riverside, it's probably relatively calm. You see a small rowboat slowly coming along the river, and on the back of the boat, I think, is a man who pushes the boat along like in Venice. And he sings a little song in Italian, of course, and looks around the place. And then pulls out a letter from his front pocket and begins to read it, because he's never been this far. And the letter said to come meet a certain person in this village. So he has to make sure it's the right one. However, once it is, he just brings the boat to the side of the river and grabs an old-looking suitcase from the boat and just lets the boat flow downriver and begins to wander around town looking at things.
All right, cool. And that person was who wrote you was actually Stan's character. But before we get to that, we are actually forgetting a very important point, because we are playing QAGS, and in QAGS we often put on our character sheets that who would play your character in the movie.
Ah, yes.
And who would play your character, Niko?
A young Pavarotti.
Excellent. And please tell us one random fact about your character.
Well, he actually gave up a career, possibly prominent career in singing opera, in order to become a vampire slayer.
All right, thank you. And for that, you get 1 yum yum.
Hooray!
And briefly going back to Chaz, because we actually forgot who plays you in the movie.
The person who played my character in the movie is Mel Brooks.
Of course.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best as sound like him, but no promises. But at least can do comedy.
Mm-hmm. So, we'll give you one random fact about your character.
He's a cousin to the original Van Helsing who fought Dracula. Well, a second cousin or a removed cousin somewhere down the line.
All right, thank you. So, like I said before, the person who wrote the Italian Vampire Slayer was actually Stan's character. Please tell us about your character, Stan.
My name is Lazlo Lowenstein, and I am a doctor, and I am running against Count Dracula in the upcoming election, as we have to stop this vampiric takeover of our villages, our village, and as a doctor, I know what to do to fix the problems here. I am a safe pair of hands, and so I'm running against him, and I am, of course, here in very at the church to shore up my support and make sure that we stop this vampiric menace from taking over this town filled with good people. And very happily, of course, I would give some change to the poor, unfortunate soul which has to beg for it.
Right, very good, Stan. Very creepy voice.
Thank you, my good man. Thank you, good man. Bless your heart.
So, who would play your character in the movie?
My character would probably be played by a young Peter Lorre.
Excellent. And tell us one random fact about your character.
For some mysterious and very unknown reason, he is being wanted by several criminal ring gangs in Berlin.
That is indeed very mysterious, and I'm certain that all false accusations to discredit you.
There is these are criminals. That's they have no morals at all.
Perhaps it would even Count Dracula who spread this rumor to discredit you.
Absolutely, this vampiric menace pulls all the dirty campaigning stops to discredit my good name, and because he doesn't have any ideas, he has to use these smear tactics to win this election, but he will not. The good people will see through this.
All right, and please take a well-earned yum-yum. I'm actually, before we start, I'm quickly going to note down all your yum-yum totals so I don't lose count. Chaz, how many yum-yums do you have at the moment? I gave you one extra, remember?
Yep, I have 6 sitting currently.
6.
Total.
Niko?
I have 8.
Oh yeah, you have a lot. You are very lucky. Stan?
Wow. I have 5 yum-yums.
Excellent. All right, noting that down. Right, so like I said, you have gathered in front of the church building. Mr. Lowenstein, is it?
Yes.
Let me actually do this in my narrator voice.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lowenstein, you were promised that many villagers would appear at this meeting. They had promised to you that they would rise up against the vampiric menace, but apparently they lost courage, because there's only 3 people here.
Oh, that is very unfortunate. Well,
And one of them is a hobo.
That's what happens when you go into this race without a campaign manager. Well, we have to make do without it. Maybe there's some other way we can stop Dracula. I mean...
Actually, Niko, I believe your character hasn't introduced themselves.
No, they have not.
Oh, all right. Well, for one moment it seemed as if all was lost, but suddenly a hero appears in your midst.
Oh wait, it's me, right?
Yeah, that's your cue.
Oh, no, it's Dracula. He came to rescue us.
Yeah. He already has a cape and everything, so he's like flying out of the sky.
Awesome. Okay, well, looking around, of course, he doesn't know anyone either. Looking around of the, 3 people that are there, via process of elimination, he goes over to the good, quote, good doctor, and offers his hand. And he's like, "Buongiorno, my man. I am Fabrizio Belmonta from Venice. I believe you wrote me a letter."
Greetings to you. Yes, I have urged you for something very important, a true, once-in-a-lifetime matter that has to be taken to task at this moment. There is a shadow upon this village, a vampiric shadow. Count Dracula has returned, and he is haunting this town with his election campaign. He must be stopped.
He looks a little confused. Election? What do you mean, election? Is Dracula not vampire?
Well, yes, indeed. And he is trying to take over this town through legitimate means. It is truly frightening.
Yes, you can see the vampire slayer is visibly confused. Vampires normally don't do this. At least not according to him. He furrows his brow, frowns a little, and then says, then clears his throat and says, "Well, vampiro is vampiro. I will help you deal with this menace."
Well, that is very good to hear. And I would recommend we deal with this menace tonight. And if it would all be possible, it would be fantastic if nobody else would know about how we deal with him.
He nods a few times. If we keep this secret, it's no worry.
That is very good to hear. I like secrets, I like secrets a lot.
That's weird. I say out of game. That's really weird.
Yeah, okay.
I like it.
That Mr. Belmonta was having second thoughts about the man who wrote him about these dire circumstances.
The situation, in his head, he's like, the situation is not what I expect.
Well, in these extraordinary times, extraordinary circumstances may occur every day.
Right.
Sorry, go on.
I liked your interaction, so everybody take another yum yum.
Mm-hmm.
Whee!
Soon you will all be swimming in yum yums. All right, and before we actually move into the church, there's a few local rumors I would like to tell you about. Because you see, there used to be a mad scientist living in the castle on the hill. He was the last in a line of local nobles, but didn't have any heirs, and thus the castle was left vacant after his death. There were rumors that he experimented with bringing the dead back to life, and he probably died after one of his experiments went wrong. and it is up to you, one of you, to name this scientist. Just the last name will do.
That's the last name?
Perhaps Dr. Hyde. It just popped into my mind somehow.
All right, Dr. Hyde is.
Dr. Hyde. Yeah, Dr. Hyde sounds good.
I'll write it slightly different than usual. It's Baron Dr. Hyde.
Baron Dr. Hyde.
Probably,
Yep.
Because
I did mention he was a noble. But he was the last of his line. He did not produce any heirs. Also, there's a local madman named Vlad who likes to dress up and act like a vampire. Everyone treats him like the village idiot.
He's a drinking buddy. He's a drinking buddy of mine. He usually pays for a tab, so he's alright guy.
And then lastly, monsters are said to roam the countryside, which is why many of the villagers don't like leaving their town, especially not at night.
That's good.
What type of monsters roam the town?
Well, there's many kinds. There's skeletons, zombies, and even a few werewolves. And who knows what other abominations lurk in the dark.
Besides a werewolf, it sounds like we're in Minecraft.
Yes, and especially watch out for the hissing snakes that explode.
Yes. Giant spiders.
Of course, the giant spiders are native to the local woods.
Oh my god.
In any case, yes, indeed. Are you going to keep chatting with each other in front of the local church as it slowly is getting dark? The sun is going down, or are you going to go inside of this holy building?
How much change have I collected so far?
Well, only for me, right?
Yeah, that we have to ask Stan.
How much change did you give me?
I thought he gave quite generously, right?
He would have given quite generously if other people would have been there to watch. But since that's not the case, he gave a little bit.
Of course. Yeah, actually, when you guys started congregating in front of the church, there were a lot of nearby windows and doors being slammed shut. Like, everybody wanted to stay as far away from this whole vampire business as possible. I wonder why.
They're just chickens. They don't want to deal with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blame them, though.
Right. So, what are you going to do?
I'll go inside.
All right, excellent. So, you're inside the old church building. It looks a little bit worse for wear. There's a few somewhat cracked windows. Even one of them has like a small puncture through the window, and a lot of the chairs. There's an actual English word for this, but it escapes me. The chairs in the church. Come again?
Pews.
The pews.
I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of the pews look like they're a little bit in disrepair. So this place has seen better days. And it's completely dark in there, at least until in the distance you see a flickering of light, and a man slowly walks into view, and he's apparently holding a candelabra full of candles. Here we go. And it seems to be an elderly man in his early 70s, having gone mostly bald, his face quite round and full of wrinkles. And yes, he walks up to you holding his flickering candles. And he says, Welcome, my friends. I am very happy to see that you have all arrived here. Is that all of you?
I would have preferred if more people would have showed up, but these are the bravest of us.
I see.
I'm here to mainly loot the place.
That is, the stealing is against the will of the Lord.
This is really by my good man. I say as I put my hand behind his back, like, put my hand in his shoulder, like, is it really stealing when stealing from unholy creatures?
That is true. I suppose in this case it would be all right.
Let's think of it another crusade.
Mm-hmm. By the way, oh crap! I need to actually note down the characters' names because I'm already forgetting them. Wait, hold on. I've got my list here somewhere. There we go. Mr. Lowenstein, have you been living in this village for a while now?
Well, yes, of course. I am the local doctor, and I, of course, have a doctor's office here, and, of course, I have no evil underground lab whatsoever with it.
Of course. Well, in your mind, you don't seem to remember that the local priest ever talked with an Italian accent.
That's true.
Mr. Belmonta, you also notice that the local Romanian priest seems to be speaking Romanian with a slightly Italian accent.
And when I know who this guy is, since I've probably lived in this town for my whole life.
Oh, I thought you were a hobo. I was just assuming because you're a hobo, you move from town to town.
It's
Hobos usually move around.
I'm a local hobo. Probably
Okay, you're a local hobo. Oh, okay, that changes everything. Well, in that case, you also do not seem to remember that a priest ever spoke with an Italian accent.
Does he look the same as a priest before?
Oh, yes, he looks exactly the same. Well, then again, it's kind of dark, so...
If I could ask something, has anything changed in this here church?
Are you asking the priest?
Yeah.
He looks around and he says, well, the windows are in need of repairs, that is for certain, but for the rest, this place is the same.
Since I lived there for a while, what was the name of the previous, like the priest that...
Father Popescu has been here for at least 40 years. He was probably been here before you came.
And he never had an Italian accent?
No, he spoke Romanian. But, well, this guy's also speaking Romanian, but with an odd Italian accent.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, I have a question.
Of course, my son.
Where did you pick up this little accent here?
Accent? Oh, you must be talking about my cold. Yes, it's very strange cold I have picked up.
Yep. I say I'm doing a tap on my whiskey flask. Yep.
It's an incredibly strange cold. Perhaps you would want to get it checked out at my clinic.
Of course, I'll come by first thing in the morning. But now, my friends, please, we must not dawdle, for the undead menace is preying on our people as we speak. We must make plans at once.